Today we're going to cover players that I think are going to have expanded roles this season. That could be either someone who's traded to a new team, someone whose role on their current team just is going to increase this year because of a different team structure. There are a number of these situations. I'm not going to cover all of them, but I'll hit on some of the ones that I think are your most advantageous heading into this season. All right, so starting in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is obviously in a rebuilding mode. Gone are the days of James Harden and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn. This year is definitely going to be a rebuilding year. You've got Cam Thomas, and this one's pretty obvious. There's been a lot of talk about his role on this team this year. This is just a guy that's uber aggressive with the ball in his hands, does not like to pass, would rather just score it himself. We've seen huge games from him over the years when he does get a chance to play. In 25 games last year, before he missed most of the season with injury, averaging 33.5 Sorare points. The standard deviation pretty low last year. Usually it's a lot higher than this, but he did get up to 58.5. I think you're going to see a lot of games in the 40s and 50s from him this year. So this is a guy you can stick into your lineups, and he will have some games where he just isn't hitting. So that variance factor for him will keep his L10 score low enough where he's playable. But he certainly has that high-end upside, and I think all the opportunity in the world this year to put up some big games for you. Right now, cards are 3.5, little under 20, and then 211 for the super rare. You're in a position now where he's not really an MVP, but he could serve that role on a real budget team. He's definitely going to have some games where he puts up huge numbers. One to look at. And sticking with the Cam theme, we have Cam Whitmore. Now, Cam Whitmore played his first couple years in Houston, really just shelved away behind the likes of Amen Thompson, a better defensive player like Tari Eason, Dylan Brooks. So you had a lot of guys that were playing ahead of him in Houston. When he gets on the floor, like Cam Thomas, he really looks for his shot. Played 51 games last year, a low average, but not a lot of minutes. Max Sorare points is kind of what I'm looking at here, 64.7. This sticks out like a sore thumb for a role player. I mean, guys, only a certain number of guys are even capable of putting up a score that high. He goes to the Wizards. The Wizards lose Jordan Poole, who was taking up most of their usage last year. They're a young team. They don't really have a lot of alphas on that team, I don't feel like. They have some good talent, but not guys that are just demanding the ball. Cam Whitmore is going to get a chance to play, and I think you could see a real breakout from him this year. Even if his percentages and his efficiency isn't good, the volume's going to be there. I think this is a really interesting player to look at heading into this season. And much like Thomas, he's cheap. You can get his limited right now, classic for $270, and his rare for just over $20. Another guy I'm curious about here coming into this season is Ty Jerome. And Ty Jerome's a guy I really like. Similar situation to Whitmore. He was kind of buried behind Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, serving as a backup point guard, but probably the best backup point guard in the league last year. Averaged 23 points in that backup role. He gets traded to Memphis or signs with Memphis. Memphis ships away Desmond Bane, opening up a spot. Ja Morant, often injured. I think Jerome gets to play a lot and can show what he can do this year. I think with starter minutes, you're looking at a really good player here. He did put up a 58 last year. This guy that improved a ton season over season, missed almost all of the 2023-2024 season, then came back last year as a very good player. An interesting one to consider, and dirt cheap right now. If you play rare, you want to add one for under $6. I mean, I think that's a really good deal. And how about Shaedon Sharpe? So Portland ships away Anthony Simons, changing their team structure a little bit. They get Dame Lillard back, but he's not going to play this year. Sharpe's still a young player. Really like his game. Great athleticism. Very good outside shooter. It's just a matter of putting it all together, and sometimes these things just click for these guys year over year. He did play 72 games last year, got some decent minutes. Not a great scoring average. Standard deviation, pretty average. But that 59.9 max makes me think this is somebody to look at. I think you're going to see a lot of him on the floor this year, assuming he can stay healthy. And I think the upside is really there for some huge games. $2.50 for a limited and 11 for a rare. All right, the Bulls are another team that I think are going to be mediocre at best, but have some good scoring players. And one of them that I like is Matas Buzelas. 80 games last year as a rookie. Didn't get a lot of run until late in the season, but he kind of showed what he could do. Got a good skill set. Wiry, long, 6'9", under 200 pounds, so hopefully adds a little muscle to the frame in the offseason this year. But this guy can definitely score the ball. 51.8 was his best game last year, but he was kind of all over the place depending on how much he was playing. I think he gets a lot more run this season, and I think you could be looking at a really good player. Can do some things on defense with his athleticism and his length, and at 6'9", he's a tough matchup for any defender. A little more expensive than some of the other guys, but not a whole lot. Still only on $6 for a limited and $44 for the rare. What about his teammate, Josh Giddey? Well, Josh Giddey played 70 games last year. The three-point shot looks ugly, but it goes in. He shot 37.5% from three last year, so obviously he's been working on that. Every other part of his game is rock solid. He can distribute. He can score a little bit at the basket. He can rebound. He does everything for you. With this huge standard deviation of 15, you know he's going to keep his L10 in a normal range that you can play most weeks. But the upside is definitely there. He put up a 75.7 last year. Still only 22 years old, so he's probably getting better. Definitely a guy I'm interested in this year. That limited card of $4. Going to be hard to play the first week with that 50 L10, but once he gets into a normal rhythm, I think he's going to be a player you can deploy a lot. Rare, just 24. And then we have his teammate, Coby White. So Zach LaVine gone, DeMar DeRozan gone. The Bulls are relying on Giddey, Coby White, maybe Buzelis, and then Vucevic to do most of the scoring. White likes to score the ball. He can handle as well. He was a main contributor for them most of the year last year. 33-point average. So you're looking between 20 and 46. This is normal range, but did put up a 63 last year. He's one of these guys that can just catch fire once in a while, put up a huge game. He'll be an interesting one to take a look at as well. And if you're looking for classics, 221, 1432. Don't have to spend a lot to get started with one of his. A little calf injury he's working through right now, but supposedly he's going to be ready for the regular season. And how about Deni Avdija? He has been in the league now for a couple years. Finally got out of Washington, got to Portland, and late in the year for Portland, looked like he was really taking a step forward, had a couple of huge games. This just is a natural progression for a lot of players. He was passive for the first couple years in Washington. It depends on the team structure in Portland, but I think they're going to look to him to carry a lot of the scoring load, and he's certainly capable. And he's got a giant L10 right now of like 50, so we won't be able to use him immediately out of the box. But this is a guy that put up a 66.2 last year. Anybody who's putting up numbers in the 60s is worth monitoring. I think he could have a big year for Portland. And less than $3 for a limited and $15 for a rare. It's another building block piece. All right, so that's just a couple. There are plenty of these guys to look at. As always, if you want anybody broken down, you can just ask. You can reach me on Discord. At me your questions about certain players. I'm happy to break them down for you. Appreciate you watching these videos. I'll try to get another one out here in the next couple days before the season kicks off next week. And, of course, we'll be watching those auctions to see what the pricing looks like on the in-season cards. If you want to join us over at Sorare Edge, you can click the link for my Patreon down below in the show notes. $5 access to all the projections and the main sheet. $10 gets you your own gallery organizer for your gallery that populates with my projections and then comes with the lineup optimizer to build you your optimal lineups based on your collection. Thanks for watching. It's almost here. 3 days.